Yo, what's going on, man? Today is June 12th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, where we are live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube as well, as we always are. Recapping a 3-game WNBA slate, and also looking forward to one WNBA game today, and then, of course, the NBA Finals Game 3 between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics will be played tonight in Dallas as well. So, let's jump into it for today, man. I apologize for being late. My mic, for whatever reason, wasn't connected this morning, so I went to restart my computer. Of course, I had updates needed to install. It's been a hell of a morning already. I appreciate the patience. Let's see. Audio. All right, so let me double check that. My mic is connected. Can you guys hear me? Testing. Let me know if you guys can hear me. How does am I having audio issues? It sounds choppy. People are saying. Let me just check. Let me see if I can change some stuff real quick. All right, let's see. Is that better? Let me know if you guys can hear it, if that sounds better. Testing. We can hear you, but it's still breaking up. Breaking up still, audio bad. I'm not sure why either. All right, let me do some work real quick, and I'll be right back. I'll keep the show live though. All right, let me know if you guys can hear me now. Can you guys hear me now? Is that better? So somebody let me know. I just restarted some things. Let me know if y'all can hear me now. Let me know if I sound better or not. Lot better. Okay. All right. Cool. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. My computer got a mind of its own. My apologies for the delays. Let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into it. I still see some comments in the beginning that we'll get to in just a second. Yesterday, I ended up giving out 5 plays to the members yesterday. A couple of them I talked about on the show yesterday. A couple of them I added afterwards. But Washington, I did talk about them in the first half. They got their first win of the season yesterday against the Atlanta Dream. Atlanta Dream just looked terrible, man. They looked like a shell of themselves. So Washington first half was a winner. The over missed by a point. I think point and a half. They finished at 155. Atlanta didn't score 20 points in one quarter. They scored in the teens in every single quarter against an 11th rated Washington Mystics defense. It was absolutely atrocious to watch the Atlanta Dream struggle that bad against the second worst defense in the WNBA. Seattle first quarter was also a loser. They gave up, I think it was 5 offensive rebounds that led to 8 second chance points in the first quarter to the Los Angeles Sparks. I went to sleep frustrated off that one. We did cash their first quarter team total over to 21.5, and we also cashed the team total over for the full game as well. So we did get a little. It ended up being a profitable day, which pushes us to 25, 15, and 1. If you just tell all of the the plays that I've given out, the lanes have done well as well, and we continue to trend in the right direction in the WNBA. So it feels that felt okay, but I felt like we should have easily been 5-0. Like I said, one more shot from the Mystics or the dream. And then Seattle just to hunker down on defense, which is what they did throughout the rest of the game. But first quarter, for whatever reason, they gave up 25 points to the visiting Los Angeles Sparks. So we'll take the 3-2 day. We'll take the positive day, and we'll keep it pushing. Real quick in the chat, let's see. Yeah, real quick in the chat before we get started in the WNBA. Jay says, good morning. After your analysis had leans on Mystics money line and Mystics first half team total over and Mystics first half money line. Thank you for your hard work. There was Dream who talked about the first quarter team total over in the first quarter, but I'm glad you cashed. Jay had a profitable night, it sounds like. What up to my guy Mark? He says, good morning. Nice work yesterday. Thanks for making me smarter. Mom is just a bet, says, good morning, everyone. Let's go Mavs. Kyrie slept good this time. Hope you have an amazing day, Chris. Right back at you, Mom who bets. Right back at you. Justin, my boy, thanks for being here and pulling up this morning. Rob says, good morning, everyone. Community been cashing. Absolutely. It's been a pretty good run, man, in the WNBA. Anyway, Donovan says, Chris, what's up? Big Coy says, good morning. Money on his mind. What up to my guy Eric? Jamie says, good morning, everyone. Let's make some sweet cheddar today. Always with that as well. Mom is just the best, says Chris has a positive day when he's 10 minutes or later. With us marinating in the chat. What up, 10K? All right, cool. Let's jump into it for today. Like I said, just 2 games on. Let's see. Helms cashed that Lynx money line. Boy, that's a whole nother conversation. But man, the Aces done lost 3 games in a row. And I was scared to fade them yesterday. Stayed off the game in totality. If you did play the first quarter, like I talked about, they did cover the 1.5 in the first quarter. Did the Aces, but then they ended up getting smoked after that. Gave up 100 points. Their defenses looked so pathetic. I went back. I fell asleep on the game, but I went back and watched the rest of it. Fee didn't even have a great game. Kayla McBride didn't even go crazy. It was the others, and they played really well. Knocked down a bunch of 3-pointers. So yeah, we'll talk about the Aces. I know they got a game coming up. We'll talk about them. All right, what else? Chris says how Mystics win because the Dream are bad. That's how. John, going to some NBA, he says teams down 0-2 at home since 2005, 91-47-1 in the first half against the number, 66-70-3 full game against the spread in the first half trend. He said the first half trend has been even lately though, going just 13-14-1 against the number in the first half since the 2021 season, 3-4 this year. Appreciate you, John, for dropping that off in here. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the first half specifically too. What's up to my guy Eric? 3-time in here. Justin says went 4-0 in the WNBA, all tailing. I'm glad you did, Justin. Helm says Alana Smith. Yeah, you was looking for a big game against her. I think she was the big reason why they lost game 1 when they played against the Aces, because she didn't really show up against Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson dominated her specifically. But yeah, I think she was the leading scorer last night for that team. So yeah, shout out to Elena Smith. Man, I like Elena Smith a lot. Peasy, what's up? Great addition. Elena Smith is coming over from Chicago. Dream are down bad. It's really bad. It's so bad right now for the Dream, man. Boy, it looked like I don't know. It looked like Tanisha Wright I was thinking about this last night, man. It looked like Tanisha Wright got Shaq running point guard, and she like Derek Fisher. Go guard Akeem Olajuwon. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what? I get off my soapbox. That's not what y'all here for. It's not what y'all here for. But yeah, it's bad, man. Hot TV Grit says age of 25 points has been money on the floor. Yeah, she's been killing. And Turbo says, Chris, you do anything other than basketball? New to the channel. I'll do some NFL content this year. I do a lot of propcast stuff. Last year, with my guy Munoz, we look at player props in the NFL, and they were successful last year. So yeah, I'll keep the channel going. After WNBA will take us to NFL season, and then so yeah, it's year round now. NFL, NBA. I just won't dive too much into MLB. Potentially, but it'll be for the members only. I'm probably not gonna do shows for MLB this year. 3 times is what a difference Sykes make. Yeah, Brittany Sykes. I tweeted about it last night. Brittany Sykes is nice, man. She is nice. All right, let's jump into the one game that we have on the schedule for today. It's the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky. A game we played in Chicago tonight. Just want to double check, make sure the line hasn't moved, which it has not. Well, it opened at 7.5. I see it down to 7. There's some 7.5 still out there as well. And total open 153 is down to 152. Some books 152.5, 153. So definitely some money coming in on the under in this game. So I have the situational numbers for you guys here as well. You guys can see for the visiting Connecticut Sun, only 1 day of rest after they smoked Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever on Monday night. This is the first road game after 3 straight home games. They got another road game after this one as well. And then on the Chicago Sky side, 3 days of rest after getting smoked. They got smoked to the Atlanta Dream, actually, 80-89. I think that was on Saturday. So second straight home game for them. Had some time to kind of potentially work on some things. In Chicago, then you guys see the season records as well. This Connecticut Sun team is not playing too many games, man. 10-1 straight up. Of course, that only loss came against the Liberty, and they bounced back in a big way against the Indiana Fever. 5-6 against the number. And then I added the road splits as well. So you can see the A beside the under season records for the Connecticut Sun as they're 3-0 straight up on the road, 1-2 against the number. On the Chicago Sky side at home, 1-4 straight up and 2-3 against the number. So they haven't really been covering too much at home, and they are 4-6 straight up, 5-5 against the number. Then the seasonal trends are there as well. Offensive rating, defensive rating. The Connecticut Sun have been probably second best, first best, whatever you want to put them in overall, play. They are the best number one rated team as far as point differential. In the Chicago Sky, you can see the same thing. Offensively, they've struggled. Defensively, they've been okay. And then the net rating has been kind of middle of the pack as well. So looking a little deeper into the game, when I dug a little deeper into this one, it's a couple things that stick out to me before I give you guys the look that I'm potentially going to make today. I haven't placed a bet yet. But one thing about the Chicago Sky, this is a young team. And I do have to mention the injury report as well. I forgot to mention the injury report. But the Chicago Sky will continue to be without Elizabeth Williams. She will miss the foreseeable future with this team. I forgot exactly what her injury was, but it was something lower leg injury that's going to take her out for quite a while. And I think that's humongous for the Chicago Sky. I think it was one of the reasons why the Atlanta Dream were able to come in and score 89 points against them in that game on Saturday. And Diamond DeShields also on the injury report, but she's listed as probable. I think she's going to play. And then for Connecticut, Mariah Jefferson, same thing. So I want to talk a little bit more about the Elizabeth Williams injury because she's their starting center for people who don't watch Chicago Sky play basketball. And she probably was on her way to making the first team all defensive team. The defensive metrics with her on the floor versus her off the floor are tremendous. It was a meniscus tear. I thought that's what it was, but I didn't want to misspeak. Shout out to Helms in the chat. They will not be great off defensively without Elizabeth Williams. So I went in and looked at it. So let's talk about the impact. So Elizabeth Williams not being there slides Cardosa into the starting lineup. She'll be out there getting a bunch of minutes with Angel Reese. Both of those young ladies are rookies, of course, and you're playing against the vets in Connecticut. Connecticut is a very veteran-heavy team. And then I looked into the defensive metrics. So Chicago's defensive rating with Elizabeth Williams on the floor was a 96.19. One of the better defensive teams in the WNBA. Chicago kind of got to hang their hats on defense because offensively, they're not great. They struggle from the three-point line. They shoot the fewest threes. They make the fewest threes. And they shoot it at the worst percentage as well. So it's a team that really tries to score inside in the paint. Now, the Chicago Sky without Elizabeth Williams defensive rating goes all the way up to a 104.28. So that's a drastic change. It's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like the under in this game. It's kind of symbolic, in my opinion, of the Sparks and the Seattle Storm game yesterday, where it's like, all right, I get it. This game should feel like an under game, but that's one of the reasons why I took the Storm team total over. Because I felt like the Storm would have a breakout scoring performance against a Sparks team that I don't trust defensively yet. Without Elizabeth Williams, I can't play the under in this game because Chicago, I think Connecticut will be able to score, where Chicago, they could potentially struggle to score. And here's the reason why I think Chicago could potentially struggle. So the play, just so you guys know, is going to be Connecticut Sun team total over, or it's going to be, I'll just lay the 7. Now, the biggest thing that you guys can see here situationally is the rest disadvantage. Chicago Sky, of course, 3 days rest. They haven't played since Saturday. The Connecticut Sun, only 1 day's rest. Chicago, that doesn't really scare me off just, too much. I think Connecticut can kind of keep it rolling. They took a lot of criticism also after not being able to score the basketball from Coach White, Coach Stephanie White. And that was after the Liberty loss. And you see them kind of put it together in the first half and in the full game, against the Indiana Fever. So one of Chicago's strengths is actually forcing turnovers. They actually forced the most turnovers in the WNBA, which leads to them being able to get out, try to run in transition. That's a problem against the Connecticut Sun. Connecticut actually turns the ball over at the 3rd lowest rate. Connecticut also, Chicago also scores the second most points. Scores the second most points off second chance buckets is what I'm trying to say. And you got a Connecticut Sun team that gives up the second fewest points on second chance opportunities. So I don't like the Chicago Sky's offense here. I think that they won't be able to shoot threes because outside of Marina Mabrey, that's the only really decent 3-point shooter that they have. I struggle with thinking how Chicago is going to score the basketball. Also, when we got to remember with pace, the Connecticut Sun played the slowest pace in the league. Maybe we see that increase just a tad bit, but they played the slowest pace in the league. And on the road, it doesn't change. They also continue to play at the slowest pace. So do they get to their team total? That's the one thing that's kind of holding me up here. I want to say real quick, let me just look at the number. I already got it in the next graphic, well, on the recap, but I have not played it yet. Team total 80. You can get some 80 and a halves. I think that's the play in this game. 80 and a half over. You can actually get a 79 and a half too. It's juiced on ESPN Bet. But that would be the play for me. I think Connecticut can get to 80 points. These two teams did play already earlier this season. Chicago Sky lost that game. They did cover, but they lost that game 86-82 back on May the 25th. They were laying 5 in that spot, lost the game. Won the game by 4, did the Connecticut Sun. So I know I just said a lot, but I like Chicago to be able. I like Connecticut to be able to score, especially with no Elizabeth Williams. Is the summary, and I also think that they could play a little bit faster. I think Chicago is going to struggle to score, but their team total is so low. Like it's a little too low for me at 72 and a half. So I won't jump on that, even though Connecticut has been the #1 defensive rated team. I think, I said this for the Indiana Fever, but if you're Chicago, you got to want to get out and run in transition. Nobody should want to see the Connecticut Suns defense in the half court. Like, you got to want to be able to run. Shut this blind. A little bright outside. You got to want to be able to run against this Connecticut Sun team. And with the rest advantage, you would think that Chicago Sky would want to run. And I think Connecticut is cool with running as well. So those are my thoughts on this one. Let's see what you guys are thinking. I know I said a lot. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one real quick before we go on over to the NBA game for today. What up to my guy, Derek? Tasha, good morning. What up to my guy, Chad, in the chat? Helm says, gotta lay it with the Sun while this guy figure out their new rotation. I actually like this. I know that the numbers coming down. I don't like that the Sky are at the rest disadvantage here. But I do kind of feel like they can win the game by 3 possessions. I really, really do. I haven't gotten to the window with it yet, but it's either that or their team total over for me. Dad says he likes the Sun -7.5. Dude been killing it, as you can see here. Amy says he grabbed Cardoso rebounds at 5.5 at +110 and sprinkled on her 10+ rebounds at +1100 on Bet365. Not sure if those numbers are still out there or not. Her minutes should increase drastically. So I couldn't talk you off there. Helm says Sun dominated the Sky on the glass in the first game. Mike says, you think Dream beat Fever tomorrow? Lines out trying to get some early picks. I got to look into it, but I don't want to take the dream. I really don't want to take the dream, but it'll probably be a bounce back spot tomorrow. I know I'm not taking the fever. I want nothing to do with the fever. They did get called out after that game by Coach Christy Sykes, but I got to look a little deeper into it, Mike. Don't take anything I say right now. I don't like giving out looks without diving into the game. I need to see situational stuff. But I will say it's hard to bet the Atlanta Dream right now, boy. After watching that performance last night, they go from playing the second worst defense in the WNBA to playing the worst defense in the WNBA because the Indiana Fever are the worst defense, and the Washington Mystics are the second worst. So maybe a look towards their team total over. I'll figure it out. Connecticut easy bread, Jacob says. I hate to hear that if I like Connecticut. Chad says Sky look pretty bad without Elizabeth Williams. I agree with that. Alex says he missed the Seattle -3.5, but cashed the Seattle team total. Storm team total, Skylar points over, Asia Wilson points over, and Atkins, Ariel Atkins over. Made 1,500 last night. I love to hear that. Alex says, any chance you start doing some player props? That's potentially. Somebody asked me this yesterday in the comments on the show, and I said if I find a big enough, if I find an edge, like player props in the WNBA are extremely volatile in my opinion. The lines are getting sharper as we finished a quarter of the season already. The WNBA season is 40-ish games. And we've played, 10. Most teams have played about 10 games so far. So the lines are only going to get sharper. But if I find some value, yeah, I'll definitely look at that. And this is a Commissioner's Cup game, which means that they just going to only try to run it up. Because remember, point differential means a lot. So yeah, I do think that's another reason why I'm not looking towards a bunch of unders. Even though I think the Sky could struggle to score the basketball. Also, you got to remember, the Sky scored 82 points, though, in the first game that these two teams played. So, yep, more Commissioner Cup play, point differential matters, and, right there with you. LFF says that -3.5 on Seattle messed up his parlay. Looking forward to today. Don't parlay too much, man. Just play straight bets is what I say. Jamie says he likes the Sun first quarter team total over 20.5, thinks that they come out on fire early, and I don't have a strong opinion about that, but I will say he's been cashing them team total overs in the first quarter. So, don't let me talk you off. What's the Connecticut Sun team total looking at right now? I talked about this, sitting at 79.5 or 80.5, depending on where you're shopping. You really just need them to score 20 points per quarter, which I feel like they should be able to get back to. Remember, I said they scored 86 with Elizabeth Williams. Now you get a Connecticut Sun team without Elizabeth Williams. You get a Chicago Sky team without Elizabeth Williams. Holmes says Suns going to dominate inside. Yeah, for whatever reason, even though it's interesting. I didn't mention this, but even though the Chicago Sky are like, supposedly this defensive team, they give up a bunch of points in the paint, which is super interesting to me. Real quick, just on this comment, let's just look at the numbers. So Connecticut taking and making the second most shots in the restricted area, so that's 5 feet or less. And the Chicago Sky actually allow teams to shoot the most shots and make the most shots. So they're last in opponent restricted area makes, last in opponent restricted area attempts, but they are fourth in restricted area opponent field goal percentage, allowing teams to shoot just 57%. But Chicago should be able to live there. Also, I'll say this. The Chicago Sky, also a team that don't shoot the ball well. Above the break threes, they attempt the third. They make the third fewest. They attempt the second fewest, and they shoot it at the third worst percentage. But with the way that they're trying to move the basketball, it wouldn't surprise me if they're able to knock some of those shots down. The Chicago Sky are the worst team at above the break, opponent above the break 3 percentage, allowing teams to shoot 40%, which is actually worse than the Aces. And Aces were the worst team, I think, yesterday. So, some matchup advantages for Connecticut, absolutely. And dominate inside is definitely one of them, Helms. Mark says he's in a team total at 80.5. Big Feely says cashed big yesterday with a 3-leg parlay. He laid the 15.5 with the Storm. God, 15.5 with the Storm. Mystics first half plus 4.5, and the links on the money line. I'm excited. He said I was so hyped and excited for today. Let's put a dent in the books today. Absolutely there. Cardoso double-double plus 850 might be a look as well. I mean, somebody going to have to score outside of Marina Mabry. So, yeah, it could be worth a sprinkle for sure. Young Man Travel IG says, thanks for your insight, Chris. Went 3-0 in the WNBA last night. Washington, LA, and Minnesota. LA definitely was a sweat until the end. Okay. Joshua says, Sun too hot. Got them on the spread. Team total over 80.5 on Caesars. Kevin says is at -105. Okay. Justin also says going to move on the Suns team total after the show, but going to look more into Connecticut spread. Yeah, I think I like them both. I got to figure out what I like the most though. The gift of Gab says he got Cardoso's double-double at plus 1200 last night, so that must be moving down for sure. Okay. Chad says I faded Sun most games, but this to me should be a layup. Yeah, I could see them winning by double digits in this game, especially, like I keep going back to Elizabeth Williams not being there, them giving up 89 points to the Atlanta Dream. Atlanta couldn't even score the basketball last night, so I like it. Helm says if DeWanda Bonner gets downhill all game, going to be a long night for Chicago. Agree with that. He says Angel Reese can't guard the pick and roll. She's solid in the post, but man, I agree with that. And Gail says, let's go Sky. So we do got a little Sky love here as well. Justin says he see that Suns team total at Bet Rivers just moved to -120. Oh, he just moved on it at -124. Yeah, I like that. I think I'll take the 80.5 though. I do think that they get the 81 points tonight. Some of these totals just a tad bit too low. If you guys been following me for a while, I'm a pretty contrarian bettor. I'm not into taking a lot of overs if I think the game's going to go under, but I do think there's a path for Connecticut to get to 80 to 81 points today. I do like that a lot, especially with the pace that Chicago plays at. I think that Chicago is third fastest paced team in the WNBA. I can't imagine they would want to play slow against a Connecticut team that's at the rest disadvantage. So, yeah, I like the team total over probably a little bit more than anything. Let's head on over to the NBA. We only got one game, of course. Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks game will be played in Dallas, game 3. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks are down 0-2. And injury news, we gotta be remiss without talking about the news that came out yesterday with Porzingis. It has moved the line. Remember, I talked about this game on Monday before we knew the news, and this line was at 1.5. It quickly went to 2, came back down to 1. And now it's up to 2.5 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Total has continued to come down, which I don't think I agree with the total coming down without Porzingis being out there. To me, he has more of an impact on the defensive end than the offensive end, in my opinion. So I think Dallas should be able to score a little bit easier. But it has been an under series so far, primarily because of the three-point shooting. We talked about this on Monday, but Dallas has shot 26% in game number 1. They shot 23% in game number 2. You would have to think that Dallas, would be able to make some of those 3-point shots. Derrick Jones Jr., Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington, like they've shot the ball really, really poorly. And the defense hasn't really been playing too bad. The Boston Celtics have gone under their team total in both games. Dallas just has not been able to score the basketball. Offenses look like a shell of itself, just 42% from the field in game number 1. Followed that up with 47% in game number 2. And they can't make free throws. In game 1, they shot 63%. In game 2, they shot 66%. That's not going to get it done. And I don't know if you guys saw the videos or not, but Luka has been an absolute traffic cone on defense, just getting blown by everybody. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, who had a monster game in game number 2 with 26 points on 11 for 14 shooting. I want Dallas to win this game. I really, really do. Probably for selfish reasons, just because I don't want to see a sweep. I don't want to see a team go up 3-0. And I do think Dallas bounces back in this spot. Now, something about Boston we got to mention is they are undefeated. I think they're 6-0 straight up on the road so far in the playoffs. Porzingis also, I need to mention this. I'm talking like Porzingis is not going to play. He's listed as questionable. I don't think that he's going to play. Everything that I've read, everything that I've seen says that Porzingis is not going to play today. But he is listed as questionable. So that lower leg injury is a tissue injury, and it holds stuff in place or something. And don't get me to talk. I don't know the medical stuff, but I know that it's a big injury that's going to require from what I read about 3 months to fully heal. And I think that's big, man. I think if you're Dallas, you got to come out, you got to punch early in this game. So it's a couple different ways. A couple different things I want to talk about in this game as I get over to my notes. So first thing is, I think if you're Dallas, and we go back to, I think, who was that? John actually put this up. I wanted to reference this real quick because I like Dallas early in this spot. I think if they come out flat, Boston probably, ends up winning the game. I talked about this the other day as well. Hold on real quick. Yeah, I talked about this earlier as well on Monday. The team that's down 0-2, typically, I think it was a couple 70% trends, 68% trends. And I mean, maybe you pay attention to the trends, maybe you don't. But those teams typically that's down 0-2 that comes back home and they're a favorite, those are the teams that you typically want to bet on throughout. And here's some numbers right here from John that kind of, also validates that as well. First half specifically is where I would look. If Dallas not winning at the first half, they probably end up losing the game, in my opinion. So I do expect Kyrie to be a little bit better. Well, not a little bit. Kyrie got to be a lot better. I expect Luka to come out, hair on fire, specifically on the defensive end, and some of those role players to play better. I think without Porzingis, I mentioned this a little bit, but taking just a deeper dive into it, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively have to be a lot better, with catching lobs at the rim. Of course, Luka only has 1 assist on 7 potential assists in game number 1. He comes back and gets a monster triple-double with 11 rebounds and 11 assists in game number 2. And looks more like Dallas basketball. Like I said, Dallas had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, just not being able to shoot the basketball in game 2, shooting the ball so terribly. Also turning the ball over, 15 turnovers is not going to get the job done either. So, and that they ended up giving up 21 points off turnovers. So those are the things that Dallas has to do a little bit better. But like I said, you got to credit Boston for, playing defense the way that they did, because they also only shot 26% from the three-point line in game number, 25% from the three-point line in game number 2. Excuse me. So I think Tatum has a big game here. Points prop sitting at 26.5. He's yet to have that signature game in the playoffs, in the finals so far, but he has been shooting the ball pretty, a lot. I think he shot 6 for 22, missed the triple-double, of course, by a rebound of all things. And I think without Porzingis out there and, Jaylen Brown doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the offensive end, Tatum eventually starts to get some shots to fall. He's missed a lot of bunnies at the rim, 3-point shots as well. I think he shot 1 for 7 in game 2. And, law of averages say that eventually some of those shots are going to fall in. So I like Tatum over his 26.5 points. Haven't locked that one in yet. Jrue Holiday, I think I saw somebody reference this put this in the chat. But no, it's really difficult for me to want to fade Jrue Holiday. I think this to me could be a Jrue Holiday type season. It feels like I like his rebounds and assists. I think the number's 10.5 still. He had 11 rebounds by itself and 3 assists in game number 2. Crushed this line of rebounds and assists, and I think he's 2 for 2 so far. So Jrue Holiday's the veteran guy on the team that's going to keep the team composed. When they're shooting too many threes, I think he'll get them in their offensive sets that they'll need to be successful. And I think he does continue to have a tremendous impact, primarily because he's the guy that, they're putting the weakest defender on. He's the one that they're putting Luka on. And he's taking advantage of his matchup. So I do think that he continues to facilitate the offense. I think the rebound opportunities will continue to be there as well. So look at Jrue Holiday over his 10.5 rebounds and assists. And on the opposite side, I like Daniel Gafford. His rebounds and assist line is 13.5. He's coming off a game where he bounced back in a big way. He had 24 points plus rebounds in that game. I think he had 13 points and 9 rebounds. And it's a do or die game, like back against the wall. If you lose this game, we know what happened to teams that go down 3-0 in the finals specifically. They don't come back. You got a Porzingis that is either going to be out there or he's going to be compromised. It's going to be one or the other. So I think that helps out a lot because now you have Al Horford as the primary defender, who's been playing well, but I think Al Horford has played a little bit better than most of us would expect it. Remember, I said that in Game 1, the Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks shot just 1 for 13 with him being the primary defender. So I think a look towards Al Horford not to play as well, and I think Boston should be able to get some of those lob threats with a unathletic, smaller vertical Al Horford out there, as opposed to it being Porzingis. So those are the ways I was looking. Also, FanDuel got a couple. I won't dive into all of these, but you can get yesterday I was looking on FanDuel, Jason Tatum to be the top point scorer. I know Luka, everybody's probably gonna think it's Luka, but if at 310 for Jason Tatum to be the top point scorer, I think that could be potentially worth a sprinkle. For Jason Tatum to be the rebounds leader, you can get that at plus 210. And in my opinion, it's literally just him and Luka. So at plus 210 for Jason Tatum to be the rebounds leader of the game, I think that's pretty good number. And then last but not least, I saw Luka and Kyrie to score more points than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the first quarter at a minus 135. Back against the wall, like I said, do or die game at home. Kyrie been playing terrible, so I think he has to play better with the game being back in Dallas tonight. And we know what Luka does in the first quarter and in the first half. We saw it in game number 2. So just for those two guys to outscore Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the first quarter at minus 135 on FanDuel, I think that's worth a sprinkle as well. None of these are official plays, but if you like the analysis, ride with it, especially if it's something that you was already leaning towards. And I think if I'm playing the game, I like Dallas in the first half a little bit more than anything else. Let's see what you guys are saying about this before we hop up off here. Let's see. Justin says Mavericks first half, 1.5 minus the 1.5. First half is in his pocket. He put it in already. John says, isn't it telling that the first half and full game are both at 2.5? Doesn't it tell you that the bookmakers are favoring the Mavs in the first half? Absolutely, John. We've been seeing this for a while now. I know for the last 4 years that I've been capping the NBA, we've seen that absolutely. Jamie likes the Holiday over as well. He says over 10.5. The line has hit 6 straight. I didn't even know that. 6 straight for Jrue Holiday over his 10.5 rebounds and assists. Love it. B. Philly says Luka triple-double and the Mavs he likes. Tasha says can't bet against Boston. She likes Tatum points, rebounds, and assists under 41.5. Okay. Justin says not official, but my opinion, KP is done. See you next year, Porzingis. I agree with that. Definitely getting on Tatum unders. Justin likes. Bliss says Mavs don't match up well against Boston. Just is what it is. I agree, but do you think it's going to be a sweep, Bliss? Do you think they go down 3-0? Let's see. Mitchell says, good morning. Double CC is Mavs first half for me and under on the spread. Yeah, the total is interesting because both teams have shot so poorly from the 3-point line. I mean, and just the average 3-point game for these teams could take this total over. So I'll stay away from the total. I did lean under in game 2, but didn't get there. And of course that, both games have gone under so far. Philip says, I want to take the over so bad, but the Mavs playing slow and methodical. No one is even in rhythm besides Luka, but hopefully it changes since the Mavs role players should play better at home. Yeah, maybe even a Mavs team total to go over. But like I said, Boston undefeated on the road so far in the playoffs. We'll see. We shall see. Mark says secondary players are better at home. Agree with that. B. Philly says Jrue Holiday should win Finals MVP. Tatum definitely don't deserve it. Jrue is a game changer. Yeah, man. Tatum getting a lot of slander because he's been shooting the ball so poorly, but he did have 12 assists and 9 rebounds in that last game. So I know he's taking a lot of slack, but yeah, Tatum's still doing his job on the offensive end. It just hasn't come via scoring the basketball. John says he want to bet the over as well. He thinks that Dallas will shoot better. What worries me is since 2003 in the finals, home teams down 0-2 are only allowing 95.7 points per game. Damn, that's okay. He says Mavs are also 3-0 to the under back-to-back games in the Western Conference when they score less than 100. Okay. Kenny says, you guys are overstating Porzingis. The Celtics are undefeated in the playoffs on the road without him at all. They still have the size and the traffic cone that is Luka. Ain't gonna change. Okay, Kendrick. I would argue that this has been the best road team that this will be the best team that they play on the road with all those compromised guys. But you make some points too. I don't have a strong opinion on it. Strong enough to play it, but not super big. I'm not, it's not a 5-unit banger. Like it's not a whale play. So I see where you're going there. B Philly says Boston hasn't played anyone all playoffs, so previous rounds are kind of irrelevant, and that's what I just said. Racks on racks. I talk a little MLB, but not on this channel. Keelan says the longer Horford is on the floor, the better it is for Dallas. You would think. Really hasn't been that way. Young man Travel IG says he's taking Dallas first quarter. They should come out on fire, especially at home. Okay. Rob says, what about Drew Holiday points? So I think we could see some offensive regression from Drew Holiday. I mentioned him going 11 for 14 from the floor, 26 points in game number 2. I'm not sure how many points he's going to score. Maybe he saved his best basketball for the finals. I'm not 100% sure, but don't let me talk you off either way. Bliss says the stats that jump off the page to me, Dallas has dominated points in the paint. If they can knock down some threes, I like Dallas in game 3. And I agree. It's literally right there on the screen. Right there on the screen. Christian says morning, and what an amazing morning. 11K last night in the WNBA. Love to hear that, Christian. Love to hear that. Tasha says, all right, I don't care what y'all talking about in the chat. I'm taking Boston money line. Okay, shout out to Tasha. She thinks that Boston sweeps Dallas. Ooh, you heard it here first. If Tasha right, I don't think they sweep them though. John says in game 1, Porzingis was the man. Game 2, it was Holiday. Wouldn't be surprised if game 3 it'll be White or Tatum. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think big signature game from Tatum is definitely on the rise eventually in one of these playoffs games. Frankie says with Porzingis out of the Celtics have gone over the team total of 105.5 and 85% of their games. Love you sharing that. Appreciate that. Big Guy says he's taking Boston first quarter winner. Okay. Light Bears, good morning to you. Yeah, Dallas is at home. LLF. Regardless, Celtics beat the Mavericks twice without Porzingis. Great point right here by Justin. Does DK have rebounds and assists combined? I can't find it. I'm not sure if they do or not. I think I saw this on FanDuel 3 times. Porzingis has been off the floor a lot this season. I agree with that. Chad says, Toom Porzingis over first quarter, 3.5 points. If he goes, it hits. If he doesn't, void. Ran this all 3 games so far, and I think it's cashed in every single one of them. So he liked Porzingis no matter what. Mark says Tasha breaking his side because he liked the Mavs. Justin says he sprinkled on the Celtics in a sweep at plus 1,800. Ooh, okay. And I don't, like I said, we could talk the NBA, but who really knows what's gonna happen, man? I could see Boston winning this game, but I think Dallas gets one, and I think that the NBA don't want to sweep either, so they'll probably be blowing the whistle for the Dallas Mavericks tonight. Also, gotta remember PJ Washington got pushing his back on that layup late too. I think it was a minute left or something like that, minute and 30 seconds left. He did get pushed in his back. I think it was by Jaylen Brown. Did not get awarded free throws, so I think it was a 2-possession game at that point. That could have cut it to 1 possession. So maybe the refs look out for Dallas, give them a little home cooking here. No idea how that's going to happen, what's going to happen in this game. Tatum doesn't care about MVP. Brown does. I think both of them just care about winning, if I'm being honest. But yeah, everybody entitled to their opinion. All right, so Connecticut, team total over. This should say 80.5. I'm cool with the 80.5. We're jumping back into a recap real quick. 80.5 or 79.5, depending on if you want to lay the juice or not. 79.5 available on ESPN Bet -120. 8.5 will get you -110, which is standard odds over on DraftKings right now. And then Dallas, if I'm playing the game, I'm taking them in the first half tonight. Also, Connecticut on the spread, I think is definitely worth a look. Just going back real quick. What is it? 7? I think you can get some 7s. You can actually, 6.5 is juiced on BetMGM, but yeah, you could get you can just get a 7 as well. I do think that Connecticut struggles to score. I'm sorry, I think Chicago struggles to score, and I think Connecticut can run it up today. I do think that they can, even with the rest disadvantage. So those will be the 3 plays that I will be looking at. Connecticut minus the 7, Connecticut team total over 79.5, and Dallas in the NBA. And I gave you guys a bunch of prop looks as well. Hopefully, you just some of the things that you wanted to play already. Hopefully it just helps with your analysis. None of those will be official plays. I probably won't even get to the window. I just enjoy capping props. They're just so volatile, so volatile. So those are the ways that I'm looking. Resources that I use are here. Definitely check out moneyballer.com. That helped us get a win last night with the Mystics in the first half. So definitely check them out. One-stop shop for all your sports betting, game trends and situational stats, all those good things. And got to shout out the promo, the Odds Jam. If you guys are interested in checking out their sports betting software, you can get 25% off your first month using code CBC. And the link for that is in the description. Also, link for my official plays is in the description. If anybody's interested in becoming members, definitely check out that link. If you're still watching and you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Bet responsibly, best of luck. And I appreciate everybody for just sticking with me through the technical difficulties this morning. Audio issues, my computer updating. This is real life stuff here that you guys are seeing. No fluff. And it's just the way it goes sometimes, man. But we persevere, we keep pushing, and we're going to get some cash today as well. Best of luck. Enjoy your Wednesday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.